it's Carolyn, the Contest Queen. I have no idea if anybody can see me. Hi, it's Carolyn, the Contest Queen. I have no idea if anybody can see me. I'm going to try and check. I've had, as you can see, it's 8:12, and I'm finally getting online now. Oh my goodness. Okay, this camera's wonky. I've been trying to use a new software package that isn't working. I've been trying to, let me just see. Okay, it says I'm live finally, but of course the other stream that I had that was supposed to be promoting this, where everybody went to, which I could see, didn't work. So I open it in Chrome. See, this is like crazy because this whole talk is supposed to be thoughts become things, and then sometimes things happen, so it's like, what was I thinking in the past that brought this to my future? Maybe it's because I was watching Robert Ohotto last night talk about Venus retrograde in Jupiter, and he had nothing but problems getting on. You know what? I can't even see if there's any comments or if anybody's watching, or it's just me. Oh my goodness. I think it's just me. And there is nobody watching live because I tried to go in on the other thing and it's not working. So maybe what I'll do, oh, there's one person now. So maybe what I'll do is I will, this is terrible. Now I'm going to have to edit this whole video. So maybe what I'll do is I will start from scratch and then I'll edit it out. Okay. So let's start this again now that I'm at least live. Yay! Okay, let's start from scratch and then I can edit the beginning because I'm gonna I'll take this one down and then I'll re-upload the edited video. So let's start again now that at least I'm online finally. Hi, it's Carolyn, the Contest Queen, and I'm here for a Good Vibrations chat about how thoughts become things. And what's crazy is the whole topic that I was going to talk about that was started by Mike Dooley. I can't find his book. So I'm thinking it's either in a box somewhere in the garage that I can't find it, or two, I didn't take it with me in the divorce, which is probably more likely what happened. So I will do a little explaining on that. And also, I made a mistake. Actually, I have it right here. I made a mistake the last time I had a set of giveaways. And I didn't give away a copy of The Secret. Of course, now I can't find it. And I have it to give away. I have a copy of a book to give away. So I will put all the giveaway rules on the website after this. Okay. Nicole says, the sound is low. I've turned up my speakers really high. Okay, let me try changing the sound. Let's see if this works. Oh, you can't change it halfway through. Let me try this. Does this sound better? Now I'm just going to talk without my headset because usually the microphone's better. Oh, welcome to Mercury retrograde. This might be better. So let's hope it is. So I couldn't find Mike Dooley's book, and it was really good. It was called Notes from the Universe. So how Mike Dooley started, I don't know if you know his story. You can watch videos of him on YouTube and different sources. He's a really interesting fellow. I used to have an entire CD. I used to have a whole set of talks from him. When I was married, my ex had downloaded this whole series of experts from The Secret, and each of them had a talk that was about, I guess it would be equivalent to a podcast now. It was about an hour to 2 hours in length, And it was an interview, and it was about all the stuff that they had gone through to get to the point where they were in the secret and how they had manifested this life. So Mike had gotten to a point in his life as his family had this t-shirt business. They were doing printed t-shirts and things. And the business tanked at one point. I haven't listened to the story in a long time. I don't even know where the CDs are right now. I'd have to dig them out. And the t-shirt business tanked, and he's sleeping on the floor in his brother's apartment, and like he's got no money, they have no business, everything's in the toilet. And he had the inspiration, but the one thing they did have was they had a really good mailing list from this t-shirt business. 6,000 people in this list or something. And what he did was, on a whim, on a Monday morning, he sent out like an email, because he had nothing to send them. He couldn't sell them anything. He sent out something like Monday Motivation. And he just sent that out with a little, positive thinking kind of thing. And he sent it out just because he had nothing else to do. And the response was overwhelming. So he thought, well, that's interesting. And it made him feel better. So every week he started sending out these motivational messages. And eventually that became the initial list he had about comments. Yes, oh, hi Nicole, I can see comments. So I was in something called StreamYard, trying to use their program because it's really cool. I can bring in guests, and I can add comments, and I can do all kinds of things, and I can even go live in a group. And I thought, great, I'm going to do this. It didn't work, so I ended up coming straight to Facebook and doing my live directly. I really wanted to try this software, so we'll see what happens. Anyway, so he started sending it out, and then he had an opportunity to do a course with somebody. And this was back in the day. They didn't have downloads, they didn't have streaming. He sat in a room by himself getting filmed, and they created a CD set. This is, I guess, back in the 90s. And he did that. And slowly, his business grew, and he became a motivational speaker, and he ended up writing books, and he had this whole thing, thoughts become things, is his quips. And you can still sign up for his newsletter. It's kind of fun. They send out something quirky and motivational every day at no cost. And then he has talks, and since then his life has changed tremendously. Obviously, he's I know he got married, he had some kids. I know he had one kid, maybe has more. His whole life has completely changed just because he kept following one thought after another. He'd get an inspiration, and those thoughts turned into something else. And his books are kind of fun. And of course, I can't find them, so I don't know what happened to those books. But predecessor to Mike were two gentlemen who talked about thinking. Napoleon Hill, famous book, Think and Grow Rich, and Norman Vincent Peale, The Power of Positive Thinking. So they're really interesting books. I don't know if anybody's read them. They're a bit dry, and I guess they're a bit dry because we are used, like this, Think and Grow Rich was originally written in, let me see if I can find the original date. It was in 1960. 1960 was the very first edition. And Norman Vincent Peale's book was, let me see if 1952. So, who knows, maybe Napoleon Hill learned from Norman Vincent Peale. And so, the thought process and the motivational self-help, new thought, new age, new wave era really started there. These guys were probably the grandfathers or great-grandfathers of the New Thought movement. And If anybody's read these books, just say so in the comments. I can't actually see the comments now. So the way they speak and the way they put across their ideas is a whole lot different than if someone had written this book now. It's a totally different writing style than I would say. And I think there's a lot of people who read these books and feel that they don't work. And I think the reason they feel they don't work is because they turn around and go, okay, well, I want, a better relationship. I want more money. I want a better job. I want to be fit and slim. And then nothing happens. They just would rather sit on the couch and eat some chips and watch some Netflix, and nothing changes. Or they try something and they fall on their face and you're like, see, it doesn't matter. Why should I bother? And part of the problem is, Helene always said this. She said, you have to see it. You'll see it when you believe it. So there's something inside a lot of people that there's a seed of doubt. And they don't think it'll work. And the other thing is sometimes things don't turn out the way they think. I saw Anthony Mandel. You should look him up. He does fantastic videos, and he's been doing a lot of Instagram lives. I know, I didn't even think about it. I grabbed George's mug. I'm drinking out of this. We got these for Christmas last year, King and Queen mug, and I'm drinking out of his mug. Hi to everybody that's popped in. I haven't said hi to that's been leaving comments. So, you're reading these books and you have these ideas and there's a bit of doubt. So, oh yeah, Anthony Mandel. So he had a graph, and I've not been able to find this video. And he showed this video where he had a whiteboard behind him. And he said, everyone thinks that my road to success went like this. And he draws like this straight line. Straight, from the bottom left corner straight up to, where we would think of success. And then he says, no, that's not how it went. It went more like this. And he draws it, and it squiggles, and it turns, and it's convoluted, and it's messy, and it looks like a big knot of string, and then it's up to success. And that's why people get frustrated, because they're in the middle of this crazy knot on this route that's taken 14 twists and turns, and they're thinking, how is this happening? This is never going to work. And so they give up, or they get frustrated, or they forget it, and they throw in the towel. But you have to keep going, and that's the thing. You have to trust the process. You have to trust that the down times are the right times, that you're meant to have this, right turn here. You're meant to do this. So for example, I've been working on Helene Hatzel's books. The second one is out, but I haven't promoted it to anybody because I've only been able to just today finally get the files fixed on Amazon. They haven't been fixed. And actually, the Kindle book is there, but I noticed there was a problem with the file. There's no spaces in between the paragraphs. I don't know how that happened. So I have to go in and fix that, but it doesn't hurt the reading. And I'm still waiting for my author's copy, the printing. The pandemic has really put a dent in how to do that. And I'm still working on the website that they're supposed to live on. I have one page to fix, and then I realized the other thing I forgot I have to do is go and upload all the PDFs to the file server so that when I link them on the new site, they will have something to connect to. So I have to do all that. And then my webmaster has to go in and make it pretty, and that's when I'll start promoting them. But the reason I made them live on Amazon, because normally what happens is I upload them, I have them in draft mode, I order an author's copy from Amazon, I wait for it, I look at it, I make sure it's all good. If it's not good, I make changes, fixes it, send it up, order another one, bring it back. That's what I ended up doing with Helene's first book. So I have 2 author's copies from Amazon because I found mistakes, and that's why you do that. Except with the pandemic, I couldn't get an author's copy. They have limited some of the ordering. That's a problem. So what I did is I put I uploaded it, and then I ordered a book from Canada. But what I did was, to save myself some money, because they make the author's copies really cheap, is I put it at the lowest possible price, ordered myself a copy, and thought, oh, I will just raise the price to the proper selling price after I get my copy. All right, no big deal. Well, I didn't realize that if you do a huge jump in price, that it needs authorization from Amazon. And because they are overwhelmed, stuff takes 10 times longer. And then, once they got that fixed, the Kindle version and the paperback version were not linked on the site. So if you looked up the book, you might only find Kindle. You wouldn't find it was available in paperback. So we had to get all that fixed. And that took 3 weeks to get that fixed. But I wasn't stressing it because the website wasn't up yet. So as you can see, I've had all these hurdles, and I know that I've changed a lot, because I remember the first book I ever wrote. We used this a company called CreateSpace, which doesn't exist anymore. Actually, I think it had a different name before CreateSpace. It did. I don't remember what it was. And in those days, it was fairly expensive. You had to buy a package, and it included a certain number of books, some editing. It had a whole bunch of services around it. And one of the services was layout. And I thought, great. I had no idea. So I upload this file. I write this book. It takes me months and months and months. I write this file. They send me my author's copy. It was horrible. Like, horrible. I bawled. I cried literally all day. Like, I had spent 18 months or more working on this book, and the first copy came back, and it was so bad. I bawled and bawled and bawled. And then I thought, goodness. So then I spent the next 4 weeks learning how to edit my own book. Talk about trial by fire. And that was in 05, at the end of 05. So you got to remember, the difference in software and programs and computers, and the strength of computers and the strength of programs between 05 and now is like night and day. So I learned how to do it hours, like 2 weeks solid. Imagine sitting at your computer for 6 to 8 hours a day, editing one file. That's basically what I did for 2 solid weeks. And then there was other edits that took, other times. And it was over New Year's and Christmas. Finally, it took that long. I remember in January, because by February, I actually had printed copies, proper printed copies, because I had learned to edit the file. But what that did was it taught me a lot of stuff. So now I buy Helene's books. The software's updated. This and that happens. Whoop, 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 fix it. Now I don't stress it, because I'm like, well, there's going to be a problem with the technology. Okay, let's go and fix it. If something's wonky in the file, I used to get so mad at the programs. Oh my God, this thing's terrible. I'd get all upset. And now I go, okay. The reason this paragraph is not sitting in the right spot is there's something in the program that is basically telling the writing that it needs to sit there. So what is the setting in the program that is giving it that message? Because they don't just randomly do things. Computers don't randomly do things. So I had to go and find the settings. Now I'm like, okay, and I'm much calmer about it. So it's not any different than these books. There is a point to that crazy story. The whole thing, this is, I had to trust the process. So I went through all of that, and every book since then has gotten easier and easier and easier. So for example, and I can change on the fly. So I'm not the best typist. Who knew? So I got Helene's books. The first one I had a digital copy. And Helene had edited that book. She wanted to edit it and update it. So she didn't know how to do that. And remember, she was doing it even before me, and she was in her 80s. So she had, an older computer with Word Perfect on it. And so she was editing this book using space bars and return keys. God bless her. I probably would have done the same thing. So I was able to take that digital file and convert it and move things around and fix things. And I honestly, if she was alive today, I think she'd be so proud of this book, because I am proud of it myself. But the next three, I only have hard copies. So I started transcribing, like literally sitting there typing out each one at a time. It was so painfully slow. So George says to me, why don't you transcribe it? I'm like, nah, I don't think I tried a little bit. It didn't really work good. So I found another program. I tried it. So I started reading out the book and then taking that file and then just editing it. And that started to actually work better. So I went, So I found something new, and I didn't get stressed over it or whatnot. Somebody made a suggestion. I kind of dismissed it at first, and you don't have to hit me over the head with a 2x4 as many times. That's the other thing. A lot of times you get a little message from the universe, and you don't hear it. And the universe, by the way, doesn't always look like you think it does. That was George saying that. It's like the old parable. This person, is doing some rock climbing. They start to slide down. Everything's falling. They grab onto a branch. They're holding on for dear life. And, a helicopter comes by and tries to save them. And a plane comes by and tries to save them. And something else comes by and tries to save them. And they're like, no, I've been praying to God. Oh, yeah, so they start praying to God. Please save me. Please save me. And finally, they fall to their death. And they go up to the pearly gates. And they say, why am I here? I thought you were going to save me. He goes, I tried. I sent a helicopter. I sent a plane. I sent, it's an old. So you just have to look for what shows up. So I had that thought, and then I had the suggestion, and I had tried it. It didn't work. I thought, no, maybe I'll try it again. I tried something else. So it's not always on the first go. I have stopped getting comments, so I don't know if people are commenting and I'm not seeing them, or there's no comments. So I don't know if anybody, have you read any of these books? They're really good. So you have to, and I don't want you to think that, see, one of the other misnomers people have about stuff like this is it's the power of positive thinking. So they think, well, if I'm not always happy or in a good mood or this or that, then it's not going to work. It doesn't mean you have to live in fairyland. We are human beings, and we are given all the emotions and all the thoughts that we need to work through. So a lot of people are going through a very stressful time right now. And if you're worried about how you're going to pay your phone bill, it's really hard to sit and be, so positive that the money is just going to show up, or that, I'm going to have food in the fridge. It's okay to have meltdowns. It's okay to, figure it out. It's okay to have to, but what you have to be positive about is, okay, I have this problem. I'm going to go have a cry. I'm going to have a meltdown. And then I've got to figure this out. And you can always, Robert Ohado always calls it a post-it note prayer. Hey, I'm having a bad day, God. I can't deal with this, or my guides or my angels or whatever. I'm going to put it on a post-it note. Here's what I need, and I'm going to put it over here, and I'm going to forget about it, and you guys are going to have to deal with it. Show me what my next steps can be to solve this problem. And then pay attention to what shows up. That's positive thinking. It doesn't sound like positive thinking, but it is actually positive thinking. Because you're having faith and positivity that the problem will be solved. It doesn't have to be easy. You don't have to like the answer. right? Maybe the answer is you start selling off some of your possessions in the house because you don't need that much stuff. You start selling some stuff for less than it's worth on Facebook Marketplace or, eBay. You didn't want to sell that stuff, but that might be a solution, right? Or you start doing yard work for all the neighbors because you have a great mower. And there's a lot of seniors on your street and they have a little bit of extra cash, and you start doing stuff you did when you were a teenager. So those are solutions that are coming up. So you have to just look to whatever ideas come out and start following those threads. Remember, Mike Dooley was sleeping on the floor of his brother's apartment because he literally had nothing left. And look where he is today, because he followed the next thread when he didn't want to be positive and he had nothing better to do and he had an inkling. So that's what you need to do, is follow those inklings. And the other thing is to think and grow rich. Rich isn't always just money either. Remember, you could be rich in love, rich in friends, right? Just rich in your life. You want to have a rich life in all areas. You want to be rich in health. That's really important right now, right? Have a healthy immune system. That's the best way to fight this pandemic, is to be healthy. Most people that come through are really healthy people. They have strong immune systems that can fight the disease. Well, then that's how most people fight most diseases. They have a healthy immune system. So these are some great books to think about, to read and to think about, and also follow the systems that are in it. That's the other thing. So, for example, I joined Weight Watchers, and it's really great. When I follow it, if I'm following it to the T, if I'm tracking all my food, it works. If I don't track, it doesn't work. So I've had people say, "Oh, I'm on Weight Watchers. I'm not losing any weight." I'm like, "Are you tracking your food?" "Well, most of it." No, not most of it. All of it. Every single thing you put in your mouth gets tracked. That's the point of the system. You can't half-ass it and say, "Well, it doesn't work." Of course it doesn't work. You're not doing it. It's the same with these, right? They have a system. Even Helene in her book. Of course I don't have one in front of me. Why don't I have one in front of me? She has a 3-step process. You can't just do 2 and say it doesn't work. You need all 3. There you go. So hang on, I'm gonna grab that book that I have. I'm gonna grab a couple of them. I'm gonna grab the giveaway. I'm gonna grab Helene's book. Yeah, so this is one of the author copies I had. So, okay, so remember, I don't remember if anybody was reading this book. Remember, she had in her system, it was 3 steps. Right in the first chapter called the Name It and Claim It game. Right? It's right after her introduction in part 1. So part 1 introduction, the first step is set a goal. Step 2 is never entertain doubts. And step 3 is you can con yourself into anything by repeating it over and over again until one day it's incorporated into your thinking. Right? So she did that because she was scared to fly, and she got over her fear of flying, which, by the way, becomes very important in her second book. So there's different steps. So I have a copy of The Secret to give away, and I'm going to put the rules in the comments when I edit this video and put it back up. Oh, well, welcome to retrograde season. I love following astrologers. It's one of my fun things to do. And every planet this year is going into retrograde. Every single planet. Doesn't surprise me with the year we're having. So I will be giving away a copy of this book, and I will be putting the rules up, and I'll do that tomorrow because my best writing is done in the morning. And I'll put up the rules. I'll give people a week to enter, because that way everybody that couldn't attend can do that. Okay? So, right? So Norman has similar steps in his. Now, right in the table of contents, you have to believe in yourself. A peaceful mind generates power, right? A lot of people are meditating now. Again, that's the how to have constant energy. Try prayer power. I just did the Robert Ohado Post-it note prayer. Stop fuming and fretting. Expect the best and get it. Don't believe in defeat. How to break the worry habit. All these guys did the same things. A lot of stress. And if you look at when they're born, a lot of them probably lived through the Depression. Right? So, right? Faith, the visualization of and the attainment of your desire. Imagination, the workshop of the mind. You know who is big on imagination? Walt Disney. If somebody would come to him with a crazy idea, he wouldn't say, oh, well, that'll never work. Because look what he did. You know how many experts said he was insane for building Disneyland in California? In the middle of nowhere. By the way, it was surrounded by orange fields. That's why in Florida they bought like bazillions of acres of land in the Orlando area. So when they built their parks, they wouldn't have everything encroaching on them as they did in California. But all the experts said it was nuts and it would never work. Millions of people every year go to those parks and watch the movies and everything else he created out of that. Right? Steve Jobs created the phone. When the iPhone turned 10, they started playing all the experts who were given phones on the first one to review. And they all said, well, this is great, but yeah, he's crazy. Why is he coming into the phone market? There's no market there for him. People stand outside lining up for the next edition of the iPhone. That might not happen anymore, but it did. So, imagination is really important because it allows you to do things that you never thought you could do. Right? I didn't know I'd be a writer. Oh my goodness. Not only have I written my books, I've updated somebody else's books. Who would have thought of that? I never would have thought of that. Right? So, and here's another one. Look, he's got a chapter on power of the mastermind. It's always good to be around people. I think there's, who said it? You are the 5 people you surround yourself with. So take a look at the 5 people you spend the most time with. And you will find yourself. So, the comments don't automatically scroll. That's interesting. I'll have to watch that. So, and thank you, Kate, for that compliment. Yeah, I love this jacket. I got it off Facebook Marketplace, and it was really inexpensive. I saw the color, and I was like, okay, that's really loud. I gotta have it. And it's still chilly here. What is with the weather in May where I live? Still thinks it's winter. Hopefully tomorrow it's supposed to feel like summer. We're going to go from winter to summer literally overnight. So this I got to see because I haven't cleaned my car this year because it's been too cold. When you're going for your morning walks and you're wearing a scarf, you wear a sweater, you wear a jacket, wool socks, mittens, and a hat, in May, something's wrong. Yeah, Kay says it's frickin' freezing. Frickin' is right. Frickin' freezing. Anyway. So, you know, that's the other thing. You have to work with the circumstances, right? I can think positively that I want to, you know, I want to be back in Mexico on the beach. But my just dreaming about it ain't going to make it happen right now with the world. It'll take a bit of time. I have to have patience. But I can be positive with the circumstances. I can dress well for the weather. I think it's the Norwegians that say this. There's no bad weather. There's only bad dressing. So in other words, you got to dress for the temperature or the conditions and you're fine. So if it's pouring rain, you know, a slicker and a hat and an umbrella and some good boots. You know, if it's freezing cold, you know, the hat, scarf, the mitts, the gloves, the you know, woolly socks, whatever. If it's, you know, super hot out, sun hat, sunscreen, t-shirt. So, you know, there's things that you can't change. I can't change the weather, but how I dress can make it what I can do about it. And eventually we'll get to travel again. I don't know when, I don't know where, but I know I will. So yeah, so these are gonna be my recommendations. If I come across extra copies at the thrift store when they open again, I'll try and find some and give them away as prizes too, because I love doing that. I love giving away positivity and positive thinking. Does anybody else have any comments on the power of thought? I'll also put the links to all of Mike Dooley's work and maybe some of his videos in the description, because I think it's really fun for you. And then if I find some extra ones, I'll put them in the group, because his stuff is really good. I like his... Actually, what's interesting is I saw one day, he's a really good speaker, and I found a video one day of him, and it turns out he's a Toastmaster. Haha! I don't know if you know that, but I've been a Toastmaster since 2006. And this year I did really well. I entered the international speech contest. I made it up to the division level. I came in second. And the lady that beat me, oh, she did so good. I was hoping she was going to go on because she was really good. But she went up to district level and she came in second. So unfortunately she didn't get to move on either. But there's always next year, and I'm going to keep trying. Because if I can do it once, I can do it again. Again, power of positive thinking, right? Didn't make it this year. All right, doesn't mean there isn't next year. Right? And what's really interesting is the convention was going to be in Paris this year. And I went, oh, and I even had a picture of it on my bulletin board for a while. And I thought, oh. And then this pandemic happened, and they're doing it all digital, and they're postponing Paris till next year. Huh, interesting. So I thought, maybe the dream for that isn't dead. So I have a year to practice my speeches, and I can still go, see? It's not, you know, as Helene says, there are no failures, only a delay in results. So there's always next year, right? Yeah, Nicole says, I can already wait to travel again and ready for when it's safe. You know, actually, I've been thinking about that. There's two different kinds of travel. There's getting on a plane and flying somewhere, and there's road tripping it. Now, our borders are closed, and they're probably going to open up at some time soon, but road tripping it is only basically Canada and the U.S. I don't know if I want to go into the U.S. right now or even this year. So I was thinking, one of the things in my bucket list is the Bay of Fundy. Maybe we will take a road trip this summer. Let's just see how things go. I'm going to put that out there, right? That would be kind of cool. See more of Canada. See a place in Canada I've never been. See to one of the great wonders of the world. It'd be kind of cool. So let's just see what happens. You never know. We have a great country. Sometimes we forget about it. And if you're American, you guys have a great country too. I in 2013, I did a fantastic road trip through the US. All down 75, all up 91. I did 11. Did I come up through Quebec? I don't know. I thought I did like 15 states or something in in um in 30 days. It was amazing. And I drove through some of the most beautiful country. I basically drove all the way down to Florida and all the way back up. And I went and saw things I'd never seen that were so cool. Unfortunately, I didn't have enough time to do everything. Like, I would have liked to go and see the Smithsonian. I didn't have time for that. But I saw some. I got to do New York City. I went to Virginia Beach. Yeah, it was really cool. I went to Atlanta, Georgia, and had a little time there. Just really cool places. Beautiful road trips and drives. So I think that's what we should all be doing this summer is saying, okay, if I like to do this, how can I change it and still have fun with it? Yes, Kay says, be positive. It's pointless to be down. True, but it is okay to be down sometimes because we all have feelings, and we're all of those feelings. We're not just the happy feelings. We're also angry. We're frustrated. We're sad. We're anxious. We're everything. We're all of the feelings, and they're all okay to have. The problem is you just don't want to get stuck in the sad. And it took me a long time to get out of the sad. I think that's one of the reasons I didn't win a lot while I was going through my divorce, because I was so sad that my vibration wasn't there. But I had to go through that to get to the other side. It's like getting braces. Anything you're going through, any lesson you have to learn, you think, oh, when is this going to be over? Just like when you get braces. This is Robert Ohato's example, and it's fantastic because it's absolutely true. It's like getting braces. When is it going to be over? When are the braces coming off? When your teeth are straight. When's that? I don't know. When your teeth are straight. Some people it's going to be quick. You can have your teeth straight in a year. Some people it's going to take 3 to 5 years to get their teeth straight. They come off when they're straight. When you learn the lesson, you move on to the next one. Oh yeah, and this is Earth School. You're always going to be learning lessons. So we might as well enjoy it. Oh, Nicole says she's planning to travel to BC camping and using hotel gift cards. Ooh. And gas gift cards. Oh, see, and restaurant gift cards. See, that would be fun. Right? And driving around, seeing new places. Right? I think that's what a lot of people are going to do. One of the coolest things I saw in Europe when I was there, and we went in 2004. Was it 2004? Yeah, 2004. And it never even occurred to me. We were driving through Germany, and the highway we were on, we were passing these campgrounds because the countries are much smaller, so there's not as much spread out. Like here, you can't see a campground because it's like in the woods somewhere. But we were passing these campgrounds, and people, everything's smaller there. So they had small trailers and little cars, and the families were camping, and they're all kind of close together. And I thought, oh my God, what a great idea. Imagine driving around Europe in your little car and your little trailer, and you just go from campsite to campsite, and you camp in Italy, and you camp in Germany, and you camp in France, and camp in Spain. I mean, they're all connected, right? And you could drive them. Fantastic. And that's amazing. So I bet you a lot of people are going to be doing that now. They're just going to be camping out and, avoiding the hotels and maybe avoiding flying and just doing drive trips for wherever you are. I think it's a great idea. It's going to be fun. I think the 50s, the old-fashioned 1950s road trip, what people used to do with their kids is on the way back in. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun. You know, it is. I love road tripping it. We went to Nashville for Christmas, did a road trip, you know, in the truck and driving along and seeing things, and you're not on a schedule and you don't have to catch a plane, and you just go around. And I think and businesses are going to be really happy to see people. So as long as we're safe, I think we're, you know, if you behave safely, I think we'll be fine, you know. Oh yeah, Kay says drivings will be fun too. You know what? I saw in Europe, Denmark, I think I saw an article. They started doing drive-in concerts. So where the drive-in theater was, they put a stage in a field. You know, they had a stage, and they had everybody drive in, and you could roll down your windows because the cars are far enough apart. And did they air it through the radio? Something like that. And you sat and watched a concert, like a rock concert, but in your car. How fun. Totally fun. So I just want people to realize that even though that's one of the reasons I picked the topic this week or this month for thoughts become things, because you have a thought and then you need to take action on it. So it's not just, it shouldn't be just thoughts become things, because thoughts on their own don't do anything. You have to take action on everything. Jack Canfield always said the universe rewards action. You know, you think about cleaning the house, it ain't going to clean itself. You actually have to get up off the couch and scrub the toilet and wash the floor, and then it's sparkling and you feel good. Um, so, but I wanted to choose this topic because a lot of people are anxious right now. There's a lot of stuff going on. There's so much half truths and misinformation, and then this happens and that happens, and our leaders, all of our leaders, are doing the best they can. Um, you know, sometimes we like to be critical of them, but honestly, I wouldn't want their job right now. I don't know if I could actually do any better. They're just as human as we are. So, oh yeah, Kay said she saw a thing where in Europe they're using little greenhouses for each table. I saw that. That's pretty cool. There's going to be lots of creativity. This is the thing. In China, the word, or is it Chinese that the symbol? The symbol for crisis is two words: danger and opportunity. And so I think what's going to come out of this is a lot of people are going to use their imaginations, and they're going to come up with creative ways to come out on the other side. Because we can't go back to what we were doing. Clearly it wasn't working. So they're saying the new normal. Well, there's the old normal and the new normal. Okay, no, there's not normal. It's what is. So there's going to be and people are uncomfortable. That's why I think there's a lot of people upset, is because it's unknown. And people aren't comfortable with unknown, and they're feeling powerless. Right? Because where do they have power? So they're doing whatever they can. But what you have to do is go into your imagination and try to imagine okay, if this is a problem, what can I do? How can I change it? Can I shift it? Can I change it? Sometimes it won't work. You know, there's going to be restaurants that don't come back. There's going to be small businesses that don't come back. But other things are getting more creative and better. There's a lot of people that, you know, office buildings, more people might be working from home, and it might make their life better because they're not stressed driving to work all the time, and they have more time with their kids, or they find themselves more productive because they can go out in the backyard at noon and sit for an hour and just have, you know, a sandwich under the tree. You know, it's going to be, you know, this is unlocking something in all of us. We're all one, and we're in this together, and this is really showing us that we really are one world. We really are one world. And so we need to come up with that together. And again, that's going to come from thought. So that's where we need to work together and do that. And so I wanted to show people that, It's okay to be anxious, and it's okay to be frustrated. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to be scared. And it's also okay to say, you know what? I don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. Actually, you never knew what tomorrow was going to bring before anyway. You just thought you did. Um, but now you really don't know, and you have to trust the process. And has anybody seen the best? I think it's called The Best Marigold Hotel. There's a couple of words missing out of the title, and it's a story about an Indian hotel, and all these seniors go to this place, and it's falling apart, and it's wonderful. But the proprietor in the movie says, well, if it's not working out yet, it's not the end. I'm butchering that quote. I think it's something like, it'll all be all right in the end. And if it's not all right, it's not the end. Something like that. So that's what we have to remember. And that's why I wanted to, that's it, by the way, if you since we have more time in staying safe at home, it's a good movie to watch, by the way. I love it. And then watch the second one too. The second one I think is just as good as the first. Oh yeah, Nicole says she saw the first one. Yeah, sometimes it's also fun to watch movies again. I love watching movies 2 and 3 times. I saw one the other day with my girlfriends, and my daughter said, "Oh my God," because I said, they asked me how many times I've seen it. I said, "Oh, about 100 times." And then my daughter said, "Oh no, I think she's seen it 1,000,000 times." So, by the way, that movie is View from the Top. I love that movie. And actually, that's actually a good one for this point too, is that the story, you think, oh, the story's going to go this way, and it takes some major turns, and then you see in the end what happened earlier on, what looked like a setback turned out to be the best thing. So again, you have to just keep moving forward and trust the process, because you never know. Val Kilmer, actually, I don't know if he's written a book, but he's been talking about that, different things. Like, he had very bad throat cancer, and he can talk through a hole in his lower throat. And the only reason he's able to do that is when he was younger, he took singing lessons, and he was taught to use his diaphragm to push the air through. And because his diaphragm's so strong, and he learned these techniques, and he was able to push the air through for the singing, he's actually able to push the air through to talk. And he said, "See, look, it's come full circle." Because a lot of people who have the surgery he has can't talk anymore. And it's only because he had that training that he's able to do that. So he said, "See, it all works out." So isn't that interesting? Oh, Nicole loved that movie too. Yeah, so I'll give you my recommendations. The Best Marigold Hotel, View from the Top. See if you can find it in a recent, I think it was an article with Val Kilmer, because he won't speak through a whole interview, like on a podcast or something. But that's the other thing I've been doing. I've been listening to, as I go on my walks, there's something called Castbox. I have it here on my phone. So ads. So it's called Castbox, and it's all kinds of, it's hundreds of different kinds of podcasts. Any podcast you're interested in, you can listen to. Oh, look at that! They have Welcome to Night Vale. That's a very funny, weird one that my daughter got me into. We used to listen to it on road trips, or when we drove around. But I listen to the Ben Shapiro show. I've gotten, hey, McMillions, for those of you contesters, there was 6 episodes as a podcast. I haven't listened to them yet. But I have Armchair Expert with Dax Shepard. I have Brene Brown. I have I have a podcast called Stuff You Should Know. These are all things that are good and positive. that get you thinking out of the normal realm. I love Joe Rogan. Um, and I listen to Maximize Your Social Influence Marketing. These are things that are good because you're hearing other people's thoughts and opinions and ideas, which are really good. But you can listen to everything from scientists. Look at the top shows. They've got Office Ladies, History This Week. There's My Favorite Murder. There's all kinds. There's staff favorites. The Bad Whiff podcast, right? There's everything. You name an interest you have, you can listen to it. That's a really good positive way not to listen to something other than the voice in your head and learn something. I love listening to them. And Audible, I listen to books when I go on my morning walks, and I sometimes listen to podcasts while I'm doing housework. Much more interesting to me than music. And I learned something. So that also helps my positive thinking. And I'm sure you can find some inspirational and motivational ones on there too. I haven't looked for those. And I think that'll be it. So remember, I'm going to edit this tomorrow and put up the rules, and I'll give everybody a week to enter to win a copy of The Secret, because I was supposed to give it out the last time and somehow I mucked it up and I ended up giving out all these other prizes and not a copy of this book. I don't know how I did that. So I think I was short drawing somebody or something. Oh, Nerica says she takes advantage of free classes. Yes, very good. There's lots of amazing free classes out there. Audible's got free books right now. I signed up. I've been using my credits. I listened to Untamed. And I'm listening to a Polaroid Guy in a Snapchat World right now. Very funny. It's nice to laugh in the day. So, anyway. So, I will, I think that's it. And I will sign off. And we will do another interesting, positive topic next month. And if you have suggestions, post them below, and I'm open to topic suggestions too. Until next time.